Design Your Life. We're actually filming live here at Design Your Life. And we got Devin from K&D Snow N Mow.
That's right.
Nice. So it's my first time meeting Devin. We've worked with Gary before in the past. Him and his wife Dorinda doing some amazing things for the community. And Devin, since you're new, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about you?
Yeah, so I'm 19 years old. My co-owner, his name is Keelan Bain, couldn't make it right now, but we started our company out of high school. It was more so a project. We originally named the company Colorado Snow Removal. We started off primarily as just going out there with 2 shovels and shoveling driveways, getting calls, and then we took it out and said, hey, let's name this company, get the LLC, get the EIN, get everything official. And then we started taking on lawn care, aeration, landscaping, and really formed this company. Now we service a variety of customers across from Monument down all the way to Fort Carson. So
that's awesome. First of all, I love to see the hustle at your age, and yeah. I remember the things that I was doing, and it doesn't compare. So kudos to you on that.
No, that's the day I met them. He was searching for their shirts for their company online. Called, came in, told his story. He was actually quitting his day job that day. And they were doing this. This was going to be their thing, and got to talking, and he's actually came in and helped me remodel, and it's really showing up for me too. But like his go get it is strong. It's strong, and it's cool to see you that way.
Absolutely.
Come on, let's get a little bit, Patrick.
Oh, sorry.
Your face is half off.
My face. Sorry. Now, what's cool about that, right, is that it gives hope for people who are always out there talking about the next generation. I know that it seems to happen every generation, right? I remember my grandparents basically saying that I was going to be flipping burgers, right? Like it was a bad thing. I mean, now they make more than most people do. And so it's funny to see that, but in my experience, I mean, you guys know Lane, right?
Yeah.
22 years old, he wrote an ebook, he started his own cleaning business now, so to see that drive in such a young age, man, like it's just going to show and take you very far. And it's really crazy that that's happening. But I say that, but my son is 5 years old and he runs a business, right? Collecting toys, holding on to them. I don't know any 5-year-old that can hold on to a toy without opening it, and he understands. And he's got like this Stan Lee collectible, and he's like, we can't open
that.
Yeah. So
I've got to admit, so when I first met Gary, coming in literally just looking for the stuff I'm wearing right now, I first looked up at work because I was going to go on break and get this done. Looked at 7 other companies, called them all. They were like, yeah, we have a minimum, we have this, that, the other thing. And then I called Gary because the reason I didn't call, he was the first one there. And it was like Design Your Life, but it had some art here. I thought it was like an art thing, it's an art class, and I was thrown off. So I come in and fulfilled my order completely, like maxing. So we left good reviews and this, that, the other thing. But when it clicked is when he said, your generation is the next thing, And me and Keelan face a lot of problems with working with customers, especially older customers who, try to push us to do more than what we said we would. Meaning, go out and shovel an extra 10 feet in front of our driveway. We said we'd shovel your driveway. And it's a problem we face because they really try to walk all over us because we're young, but we try to keep it professional and say, this is what we've said we've done, this, so on and so forth. But, there's certain type of people that are willing to work with you and know that you're young, but you're going to do a good job. And then there's people who think they're the boss.
I'm trying to boss you around while you're doing your own job.
Yeah.
Like you touched on, like your grandparents said, you're going to be flipping burgers. Like it was very much that you go to college, you do this corporate job, you do that. That's what was expected of you. So if you had this kind of spirit when I was 19, it very much was that stop wasting your time. Stop, and like I vowed in that moment, like if the tables will ever turn, I'm going to do this different. And then they were my opportunity to do it different. And I remembered my thoughts, like I sponsored them. I gave them work shirts. I just saw their drive and their vision. They know what they're doing. They're not just out here not wanting to work. you know, like a lot of, you know, what like
Yeah.
they have a business that they're very serious about. I mean, you can just see the drive. You see,
No, I love it, man. And what's crazy is, right, like every generation has a bigger opportunity. Like for us, YouTube was the thing to get started into, right?
yeah,
And again, a lot of people still trying to do all that stuff, but now it's kind of feels like TikTok. It's
Yeah.
kind of the new
Yeah.
thing for business owners,
Yeah.
right? And it's crazy that you could literally build a following for the things that you enjoy rather than us trying to find stuff that we could gravitate toward. Now it's like, no, you just be yourself and people will gravitate to you.
And the other reason why I'm so grateful for meeting him is that we have a TikTok for the store, but it's, you know,
Yeah.
like him and his brother's our employee.
Yeah.
Like, you'll meet him, you know, you guys might have met
Yeah,
him.
yeah,
already.
yeah.
And like, they run the TikTok. I have no idea. I have no idea what's going on. Like you said, like YouTube came out, I was already having kids already, because I'm 41, I'll be 42 this year.
No, you look like you're 30.
And so like I was already older, like everything was word of mouth. Everything was, you do a good job, the word gets out. Like all these Google reviews, none of that was, you know, like this is all keeping up with social media, all the reviews, all of that. That's so important. Is like that's a department now. It's a whole department.
It is.
It's
Yeah. Well, I mean, you guys are do a good job, right? And of course, let's give a shout out to Randy and Candy. They do a great job. Too. So omnipresent.
omnipresent. You know?
So, you know, I just love the idea that you, as a mentor, right, to Devin here, but it's reciprocated, right? Obviously, he very mature to understand that, like, the value of that mentorship, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how many people go through business or start something, and then mentorship is sold the wrong way. Some people literally will say, "What do I get out of it?" Some people will turn around and say, you know, it's not worth my time unless I'm getting this, or their expectations that they're going to get something from it. What I found is that a lot of mentorship really is a symbiotic relationship. Oftentimes it's kind of unspoken. And a lot of times you're not even asking, you're just kind of assuming. And he's kind of telling, like, one day, "Hey, man, I'm your mentor." And the other one was like, "Well, I just kind of assumed that you were my mentor, so that's worked out."
And so that kind of relationship is weird to me, because who I would consider my mentor, it was that way. Eventually, I was just kind of like, "So you're my mentor." Like, I don't know if you realize this or not, but you are. You know, like it was just, I would ask all the questions, because, you know, obviously the guy I was looking at runs a business that is similar to what I do. You know, like one of my suppliers, basically. And so, like, but it was just question after question after question. After years of that, I was like, "So you're my mentor. I guess you would get it right now."
It's kind of like a Mr.
You know, like,
take him on dating.
yeah,
You
you're
know?
here, you know more than me, and you answer my questions.
You might not get that reference if you
Yeah, we got some of that. Well, I think it's interesting because Gary and I had talked a little bit. I was asking Gary kind of how he got into this space with Design Your Life, because you've been doing the screen printing and all that with the custom designs for 20 years now, right?
Well, yeah, 15, 20 years, yeah.
But I think it's very inspiring because you actually brought up the fact that before you were running this store, you were doing some stuff in the cannabis industry and also some music aspects and whatnot. But you had talked about really what kind of drove you into this space was you had a situation with your family, right?
Yeah. No, so my daughter, who's actually over there watching us do this right now, she at 6 months old got RSV 3 times back to back, like scarred her lungs, and then every cold from then became pneumonia. Like, as I threw events, I ran a dispensary. I was around a lot of people. My wife's an insurance agent. Always around people. And after a while, the doctors couldn't come up with nothing. We're in a hospital for weeks at a time, and they just, it's got to be us. My events, something at the call center that Dorinda worked at. And so we shut our life down. And I knew how to screen print, do all that because of the events and everything I was doing. And like, I was like him, calling everybody high minimums, setup fees, per color charges, and it was just ridiculous. So I taught myself how to produce shirts rather than do that. I'm not saying that, you know, that's the game. But I then made the decision that I'm going to be a more user-friendly printer. And I was mainly printing for bands, for dispensaries, for situations like that, because I could. And then when my daughter got real sick, it became I know how to do something that's very valuable. And we went hard. LLC, out of our house, went and picked up school contracts, dance team contracts, just by the luck, by just conversation, just by, like old school word of mouth. Because like I said, like I'm not great at the social media at all. Like it's not, and through this necessity of having to print to live, it just grew. And walking through the mall, called the phone number because we needed to expand. I needed more space, and we're 5 years ahead of where we wanted a retail space in 5 years. And it worked out because COVID, a lot of people are not, businesses shut down, spaces opened up. If you have it in you right now to really go get it, the landscape is more open than ever. Like.
Well, one thing I don't want to discredit from you either that maybe you haven't touched base on because it's hard to say when you're talking about yourself, but your heart is in the right place. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, for people who don't know, you're creating a space for small local businesses. You're kind of creating a retail front for other people who can't afford it themselves.
Yeah.
Right, and then you do collaboration with local poets and artists and stuff like that. Right, it's kind of like that old school feel where people used to bust out the boxes and b-boy on them, or listen to the radio and hang out. Right, we don't have those spots to hang out anymore.
I'm that guy that knocked on a lot of doors and got a lot of rejection and vowed to be different. That when I got to a position that I could spend, I would have a legit community space. I would have a legit for small business. I would have legit, because I understand what it's like, dude. It's you want to get shirts, you want to get things to advertise your business, and then you're told you got to get 50 shirts. You have 4 employees. You have, and that's no. Like I want to be the actual small business, but like. I have this retail space that I've actually now dedicated to my children's business, to their aspirations, to their ideas. Because like we print, like we do a lot of printing. That the Air Force Academy is calling now. Like having this location has opened us up to like we're a real business now. We're not a home address, and so. I am just remembering all of those. I'm going to do it different. And like my son came to me with an idea about business, and we're doing it. Rather than, good job, little guy. You know what I mean? Maybe when you're older, you can do it. No, we're going hard on his idea.
I think it's special too because really you and Dorinda with the store, you guys are very community focused.
Yeah.
I know that you guys have talked about with the young entrepreneur space, but I think it's unique too because you do call your employees that are on now the Teen Titans, and you actually talked about the fact that, hey, I'm going to listen to the ideas that they have, and let them run with it, and if we have to pivot, we pivot. But I think so many people are hard pressed on, it's got to be this way. I'm the boss. This is how we're going to do it. But I think you're opening up that door to really let your employees, Devin, everybody that's here to really do what they will need to do, that creativity part. And so I think from your perspective, having the younger generation, how has that been for you? And then Devin working here and seeing Gary's heart and really what he's about. How's that perspective for you in regards with that?
So I'll go. So I think that in this world right now, to survive, we need to be listening to. I really think that right now there's a time more than ever where you really don't know. There's no machine anymore that you can just plug and play, that you can just, like, the formulas are being rewritten right now. And really, it's TikTok, the way that it's going, it's youth driven. And so I very much am down to listen to them. And I think it's great. It's what I thought it would do, like giving youth a chance. I think they're ready to go. Like Devin's doing a lot right now. He's got his business. He's helping me. He's lifting up his friends and their aspirations, like, and not seeing that, I just want to be here to facilitate. I want my space to be able to help community, and like you said, that youth. We're printing for youth clothing companies where I truly think they're the future, and we need to start assisting them rather than, hey, young guys, you know what I mean? I'm old, and no, I'm old and broken, and the world is old and broken. So hopefully you guys got it, and I will help. Like, rather than just good luck, I know that I need to be an assistant to the youth, and that's where we need to go. I think.
Yeah.
We had our chance, and look where we're at. So,
I love that. So it kind of segues into kind of this question that I love to ask people, especially because you're on the rise, right? I mean, for you, everything is uphill. For a lot of us, we've had kind of these roller coasters and all of these things. So for you, in your perspective, where have you failed, and what have you learned from that so far?
I don't think failure's come yet. I think I've hit some bumpy roads. A lot of people get, one thing comes, like, I can't afford a new work truck right now. Like, I run a 4Runner because it tows, but I have new things that I need to get to, and a lot of people would just throw their hands up and say, I can't do it. To me, that's like, how do I do it? How do I get there? Gary showed me a lot. I mean, like, not even just working here, it's more so like a partnership. I come in here and I know that if I have an idea, Gary's going to support it. And if Gary has an idea, he knows I'm going to support it. And I have a variety of business ideas and new ideas that come in my mind every single night. And, Gary's helped me bring that alive. So I've got a desk set up back there that I've got this YouTube channel that I'm going to run. It's called Z Business Life. It's already got a few videos on there, but I'm going to bring it back to life. It's going to be literally our generation of just kids who want to start their own business, how to start your own business, how to invest, how to do everything that a school does not teach you. And I think it's so important because nowadays, I mean, I hate to say it, but the minimum wage, you can't even afford to live. I mean, we were just put in a situation. we were just put in a situation to where we have to move, and they told us 5 days you got to be out.
Oh wow!
And we luckily got till the end of the month, but it just hits you, and you start to realize, and you say, wow, anything can happen at any moment. But my dad started to dread it. Like, he felt like a failure. He felt like this, that, the other thing. And you know what? I told him, I was like, well, if you're going to feel that way, you're going to be that way. And then if you turn it around and you actually get up and just say, how can we make this happen? Maybe this happened for a reason. I told my dad, I said, you've got skills that could show in my business. Maybe you'll go and get another job, but it's going to eventually lead into, maybe you can run my business while I go down my other path. And there's a lot of different routes and things that go on in my life. And I just try to stay positive and figure out the route that's going towards success. But I think a huge failure is going to come in the near future, and that's going to be kids not chasing their dreams. And that's primarily because, you go to school every day and kids are brainwashed. You think you have to go and learn the most advanced math equation ever. Well, I'll tell you what, I graduated with a 1.9 GPA. My girlfriend told me the other day, who has a 4.67 GPA. I mean, literally the highest I've ever heard of. She told me, she said, you're probably still going to make more money. You're probably going to do more than me. Even though I'm going to go to college and get a 6-year degree and come out with an immaculate GPA, you're still going to be more successful. But to me, success is really being able to provide, being able to, like, learning how to make money. It's not about being rich. I mean, if I was handed $1 billion right now, I could go and get bored spending money. It's not about the money. It's about learning how to make it, and then it becomes a game from there. It's just, how do I make more money? How do I grow more business? How do I meet more people? And it just, you do it until you die. So I think you're gonna fail if you don't chase your dreams. So.
Well, my job. My crap.
No, and that's what I'm saying. And he came in here, we had a conversation, and I was like, dude, I believe in you. I know I just met you, but like, I believe in you. Like, let's do this.
The funny thing with that, when you bring that up, did Devin have a business plan to show you?
No.
You felt the passion, right?
No, it was, and so that's where my generation likes to old man it, and you can't go to the meeting without the business plan. You can't without. You have to write this business plan. You have to. You have to. You have to. You have to. You might as well not even take the steps if you don't have this business plan. You know what I mean? And like everybody always asks me, "Where's my business plan?"
Yeah.
Like I will produce. Like, dude, I will be a CEO of $1 billion company with no business. Like, I will never be able to produce that business plan because I don't know, sitting down and writing that down is taken away from me get business done. And it's just, I don't know. So many people disagree with me. So many people. But
I guarantee you, if you go back and ask and look at the business plans that people have created, most of them came after the fact.
yeah,
Right? Because I now know if I put a business plan together, I would have never started it. Right? When you look at upfront costs and fees, and how much work and all that stuff, I would be like, nope, I'm going back.
no, yeah.
But what's crazy?
Where's those applications?
Exactly.
You know, like, but yeah.
Yeah. But even at his age, right? An entrepreneur is an entrepreneur, right? That driving spirit, that idea, that chip on your shoulder, that thing of knowing that I'm meant better than to work for somebody else, that I bring so much more value, right? And so we're doing, I think, a great job of getting kids more prepared now. Whether it is maybe watching those YouTube videos of guys who are just blowing up, right, doing whatever they like, or maybe it's the Gary V's who can impact a lot of generations, right? But you know, for me, it comes down to is like, man, my kid's 5. Both mom and I are both business owners.
Yeah.
So what does that look like when a kid is immersed, right? You're seeing it with your kids, right? We're seeing it in him.
Yeah.
So all of those different things, I mean, it's almost going to get to the point where you have to be an entrepreneur. And like he said, you know, financially, you almost have to have a side hustle or something.
Yeah. So I watched my dad own his own business. But when I would go and say that that was something I wanted to do, I was wrong. And so I was like, we live off of this. We live off of him doing his own thing. He created his own business, and that's how we live. But even he couldn't be like, do what you know what I mean? You could do it. It was like, I feel like that was one of the biggest lies that, like, my generation was told you could be anything you want to be. But it was, you can be what we tell you. You know what I mean? Like, that's what it was. And so even watching a business owner take us on vacation because of his business, it was still nonstop. Got to go to school, got to go to college, got to do the corporate thing. And it's like, so when my kids are seeing, we eat, we do everything off this business, and they're throwing ideas in. And if one sticks, yes, let's go. You know, like, I'm not going to tell you you're 13, so, you know, that's not a good idea. No, like, a good idea is a good idea, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, if you are catching this live, rather than our traditional hashtag live to let us know, I want you guys to go to facebook.com/designyourlife and go ahead and drop a like on that page, because honestly, the atmosphere that we're in, right, to be able to be here tonight, the atmosphere that they're creating here and the community aspect definitely is deserving. So go ahead and drop that. If you missed it or whatever, we'll go ahead and make sure we get it in the comments. We'll also make sure we get Devin's information in the comments, but that's going to be our call to action today, is just to support other people. You know, you guys do such a good job of showing up and watching and things like that, but super important for us to know that we're supporting other people and other businesses. So if you can, facebook.com/designyourlife.
But I think it's unique though too, because Devin did bring up the fact that you were talking about your dad, and you're like, if you keep saying this is what you're gonna get. Which I'm like, it takes people so long for that switch to flip and be like, well, I guess what I'm speaking is really coming to fruition. And being 19, it's not being young, it's just the wisdom that you have with that piece and whatnot. So when you look at what you're doing, what do you want to accomplish? What do you want to bring to your generation to kind of uplift and bring to the forefront?
Well, for starters, I've always heard some of my friends have said, you know, everyone goes to school. Everyone at least goes to school. I want to say that I went to school. I got a 1.9 GPA, and I came out, and it did not affect that GPA, that grading system, that whatever you want to call it. I learned so much, and all the way through 5th grade, I probably could have stopped there. But I want to be able to say that I did it, and not to just say, oh, well, I did it, but I want to show other kids that you can do it too. And I want to accomplish the goal of making a business and then moving on, making a business, moving on, and then making so much money that I can just donate it to kids who want to start their own business, or young people, not even kids. I mean, if you're 50 or 60 years old and you want to start your own business, you don't know how to get the money or the funding because you are stuck at your job and you didn't get a degree. I one day want to be able to give you an investment and maybe a partial bit of your company, but at the end of the day, I'm not there for the money. I'm more so there to give you knowledge. So I'll be that 10% owner. It doesn't actually take money, just gives you knowledge. So I don't know.
I absolutely believe in people, and
Yeah.
not just be your track record, because that's the thing is, really, I built our business on a pile of mistakes. A pile of not knowing what I was doing, but having to figure things out. And it's, you either learn from your mistakes, or like you said, you throw your hands up and like, I'm never going to get it. And that's the thing is, like, maybe someone's 50, 60 years old, still chugging along. I'm going to get this. And they just need that person that believes in them. You know what I mean? And that passion, and that they've got this in them, you can feel that. It's not in a business plan. It's not in the career they were in. It's, this person, you can feel it. You can feel it. 60 or 16, you can feel that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, whether they've had great success or not. And maybe with your help, they can get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, guys, I don't want you to misconstrue that everybody here is, against higher education. If that's a passion, if you need the structure, it's amazing, right? But what I do want to showcase is that what the entrepreneurial spirit looks like. It doesn't matter what age you're in, you have that built into you. And again, if you're perfectly content with that 9 to 5, more power to you. Honestly, I'm a little bit jealous because my life, I feel like, would be so much easier in some aspects. Obviously, there's pros and cons to both. But again, at 19 years old, he already knows, right? I mean, many of us start thinking about our legacy way too late, or the things that we want to look at, and he has a long-term plan, right? He doesn't necessarily have it all figured out as life, comes at us. We're going to have to pivot. But he has a general idea as to what his legacy wants to look like. And again, how many of us were doing that at 19? It's really incredible, right? So
I've got 2 things to say. So first, bounce off what you just said. The government doesn't want schools to teach about money, entrepreneurship, how to go get a credit card, because we need employees. Like, we need people that are willing to go out there and get a job, or be a doctor, even work at a normal place, like working at the mall, or working at Walmart, or working at McDonald's. Like, that's awesome, because
Every job is needed. Every job.
If I go through the drive-through at McDonald's and I pull up there and I can't pay anybody, then I'm not going to get my food. So, I mean, shout out to all the people that want to work. So that's amazing. Another thing I want to say, from bouncing way back from earlier, is America used to be built on a simple page. It used to be a 1-page document, so that way America, when you come to America, you know what we're about. Nowadays, the most recent stimulus check that we got for $1,400, I bet most of the population doesn't even know what all this new printed money is actually going towards. It's there's thousands of pages in this document talking about where this money's going, and I'm sure it's going to great things. But the U.S. dollar is losing its value faster than ever. The debt-to-income ratio, America is literally bankrupt, beyond bankrupt. And it's just crazy to see, and they're not teaching these things in school. And I feel like that's something that should be taught. How can America come back and really blow up and show that we are America, back from when we were day one compared to now? And I think people just need to share the love and support each other and really get back into it. Because nowadays, everything's just hands are thrown up. You could walk across the street and get called out for walking. So, we just need to come back together, and we're America. Like, we're built off this 1-page foundation.
And work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Everybody, there's a million jobs that have to be done, and big up to everybody that goes every day and does what they do, because that's the only way we're going to survive and get back to normal is by people doing what they do every day. Whether it's that fast food worker or the business owner. Because like I have a store in the mall. I'm not going to survive without the people that just want to work.
Right.
You know, like he's going to need more employees, and he's not going to survive without people that just want to show up and work. And so everybody just has to work together. Like you're saying, like you have to have your entrepreneurs and you have to have your people that work and that go, and you have to have your corporate guys, you have to have your CEOs, your HR off, you have to have all these people. And so definitely not bashing higher education, not bashing any of that. I'm an entrepreneur. I knew at a very young age that what I was hearing wasn't for me, and I needed to figure it out. And that's my path.
Yes.
You know, like,
and I'll never, ever, ever say when I become a millionaire, billionaire, or even a trillionaire, I will never, ever say that I'm self-made, because at the end of the day, every employee that I hire, every person that I bring in, every investor, sponsor, everybody from this meeting right here, maybe this
round table, every like conversation that you had sparked something.
Yeah, nobody's self-made. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
you founded it, you built it, but at the
You
end
went
of
and
the
got
day,
it. But
the people willing to work for you are really the people that made it.
The day and age we live in, right? There is not hardly anything new that you could create that hasn't been replicated, duplicated, or come from somebody else's idea.
Just made it a little better.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Your twist or your version or your variation, right? I mean,
That's what makes our business our business. Is
Yeah.
I took an age-old thing and experimented with it. Didn't listen to the instructions that were written. I came up with my method. My method, you know, and so that's the difference between all the different fast food places. Is this is their methods, their batter's different. It's all the same thing.
Yeah.
Cheeseburger.
Yeah, you know, but what's
no, you know,
playable?
those people like in and out. Right? They think it's worth
Yeah.
it. So, but no, like even though, you know, it's still local people working in corporations,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And still working in.
And that's I love that. Support local, support local. No matter what money you spend in your town, you support local.
I gotta run and grab something quick.
Yeah.
Because like it's the employees are local. You're helping them pay their rent. You're helping. So yes, there's a million local owned restaurants that I will go to first.
Yeah.
But I will also not feel bad that on the third order of the week we do Chili's.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because there's that to-go person that I tipped. There's that, you know what I mean? Those are all local business people. They make their money locally.
Well, and I think it's unique too because first off, a lot of businesses are starting to transition, bringing in what they call a dream manager program, and so it's actually talking to the employees, finding out what they truly dream about, what they're about, and I think you're an example here of really bringing the young generation in and listening to them and seeing what they want to do. Like Devin talks, you guys, he looks more as a partnership where you both are working together and whatnot. But I think that by allowing somebody to do that, it does open up the door where they're more willing to really go and do what they need to and come and produce a company, but also go out there and chase their dreams because they have somebody that's supporting them and they see it more than they may see it.
So this right here is a little piece we put together. I support local business, and we ordered 1,000 stickers that we're just giving out, and it's got our company name on it. But what's the primary thing is I support local business, and you know it's easy to go order, you know, a toothbrush on Amazon or you know even from Walmart and just go pick it up. But at the end of the day, you know, if you're going and supporting the small people that are trying, you know, it's just like getting hired at a new job. You know, you go in there, you're all excited about getting a job and you're getting paid by this company. Well, you guys being our customers, coming to us and supporting us, we get all excited because one more client means, you know, a lifelong relationship. Not even money. Like
No,
I don't care about
And that
money.
is a true statement. Like I feel, I don't know, connected to the item still. You know what I mean? Like I feel like it's not just me making money off of people. Like I feel very connected to the items I'm making for people. Like I feel, you know, like I don't know, I just more than a Walton would. I feel, you know,
well,
like
it's the time and you spent, right?
Yeah.
And again, it's the intent behind it. You're like, man, it's the fact that somebody would appreciate and spend money on something that I designed,
yeah.
right?
And then when people come back multiple times,
Yeah.
like, dude, I'll go behind and I'll be like dancing, you know, like no, like this is amazing, like, you know, like, yeah, I know, yeah. There's probably is times where I've gotten like, yo, there's certain jobs like like we paid bills off of this organization.
Yeah.
They keep coming back and ordering, like I don't know, it's a great feeling, you know, like
No, 100%, man. Like, you know, I shared recently on my Facebook that a couple weeks ago our agency was named top in Springs,
Yeah.
right? Which means that we're somewhere in the top 3. I don't know.
yeah,
But to leave a corporation that, again, that was highly respected, been around since the early 1900s, to basically them being the only name talked about here, and for other agencies, again, it's always been kind of just by top name.
yeah,
To be an independent with an agency name attached to it,
yeah.
and to be voted up there was super humbling.
No,
Because,
it's one of the yeah.
So when I'm sitting there and I'm thinking about it, I'm like,
It's one of those, you know, why you get up every day. You're
Yeah.
like, it's one of those things where you're like, you almost like you're looking for the people. Where's the people I'm gonna say I told you to? You know, like I told you so.
I mean, yeah,
You know,
but,
like
but also it's like people actually took the time,
Mhm.
not just vote,
Yeah.
but to share with other
Yeah.
people, and to realize
Yeah.
that, like, I mean, sometimes you just never know in your business because people
Yeah.
don't necessarily take the time to leave the
you
review.
do different. You do business different though, bro. Like you see, like and again, like we met you because it was one of the tag. Was it a tag or a Google search? Yeah, you're tagged all the time. We called you, and you were busting your butt for this store to get the insurance policy for this store, and I couldn't sign the lease till I got the policy. I ended up having to go with another agency because it was something was holding up and I was impatient, but that didn't ruin business. A lot of situations would have been done right there. I chose another insurance agent, so our business is done. No, we've had marketing things here at the store. We're doing this. Like, it didn't like, and that was a big move to me. Like, dude, I got so much respect for you off of that because in today's world, a lot of situations are, I'm going to try to get the jackpot right now. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to overcharge people. I'm not going to talk to them again because they didn't choose me. Like dude, this is, yeah, like, I didn't choose you. And we're still here.
Yeah, no, it was important.
And
to
that's,
show up for
in
that
this
moment.
world, that's not common.
It was important to show up for the opening, right?
Yeah,
Because I talked about supporting Whipple,
yeah,
right? I mean, 5 minutes into talking with your wife, anybody would have a buy-in to her. I mean, she's just so sweet and
Yeah.
everything, right? But it was the conversation, it was what you guys were building,
yeah,
and I wanted to come check that out for myself.
Yeah.
You know, if somebody else's community, let
Yeah.
me jump in there because
Yeah.
that's what I want to support. That's who I want to be
Yeah.
surrounded with. So it's so easy to buy into that
Yeah.
process. Again, being here, seeing, you know, the growth, seeing
Yeah.
the pivot and all that stuff, like, I'm proud of you guys. You know?
dude, and it's like being there. Like I put this off 2 or 3 times because we're building and we're figuring our stuff out, and like you come with us and let us, you know, get to a point, and like you're a champion for local businesses. You're a legit, you know what I mean? Like, and you mean it though, and there's not a lot of people out there like that. You know what I mean? Like,
This guy too. I
no,
couldn't do
he
this
keeps
without
coming
him.
in. He comes, like, he knows I'm here,
Yeah.
so he'll come here. You know what I mean? And he talks to me, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's that, I really, you know what I mean? It's those type of business owners and those type of business people that are going to keep business people going. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
I like seeing stress in me through trying to build through COVID. Like, he just pops in, how you doing? How are you? And it's those little things that you guys do that's different.
Yeah.
that I see, that I try to, you know what I mean? Because even with Devin and I'm going to bring in the youth, I still old man it. And I go, trust me, this isn't going to work. And then he does it. and then I'll do that. I told you it would work.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like that's what I do. You know what I mean? Like that's what I do because I do. Old man, it's still and like trust me. I'm like, dude, I'm double your age. Like this isn't gonna work, and he still has to do that. You know, just watch me. But I at least understand. I'm here doing this, so I gotta let him do his thing. You know, and that's you just seeing, like you said, it's not the business plan. It's seeing something in people, and I appreciate that y'all saw our mission and have let us build it up and been here to help us, even though I didn't choose you as our insurance agent, even though I kept pushing you off to do this, you guys keep showing up and you keep assisting us to make sure we're gonna, you know, and that's allowed me to help with his business, which he's helped with my business. It's all just help. Everybody's helping each other, and it's great.
It's a tribe, man. You know, we look at those things and, you know, I think Seth Godin talks about having a tribe, right? 1,000 true people or 75 people that will pivot with you no matter what you do.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting because how many people, if they truly look around, if they truly ask, maybe can't even come up with one or two people.
Yeah.
Right? Like, my dad is one of those guys where his loyalties remain to USAA. I can't even ask him to go through a quote. Right? Because he's just like, no.
Like, no, this is what, no, they've been good to me. Yeah. It ain't broke, don't fix it. You know what I mean?
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
And I could probably save them quite a bit of money, right? And I would go through.
And you're supporting me, Dad, you know.
Yeah,
But,
try that, right?
yeah, you know, yeah.
But what's interesting is, like, you go through that, but my dad is like, he's like, is there an article on you winning the best of? He's like, I don't have a lot of friends, but I'm going to share with them. You know what I mean? And I'm going to tell the neighbors. And I'm like, this is so weird.
Yeah.
But it goes hand in hand though, because your strongest supporters usually are not your closest friends and family,
Correct.
which is such a unique thing because, especially your family. But that's something that you see a lot of times. It's not your closest people to you.
Yeah.
It's strangers that you come across paths with, and just have the conversation with people.
The people we're rocking with right now that really show up for us and tag us, we've met through COVID.
Yeah.
You know, we've met, like Randy and Candy needed last minute shirts for 4th of July thing they were doing during COVID, and we pulled the shirts off, and then we called them when we were doing this, and like they're legit people in our life. You know what I mean? Like, they've heard my frustration. I've cried to them about what's going on. You know, like it's hard to do business right now, but when you have those people that will hear your frustration and all that, and not just be like, oh, turn away. They'll be like, yo, how do we help? Like you just show up to talk. That's it. But it helps.
Right.
You know what I mean? It helps. You know, like, whereas plenty of people have been like, all right, that's time 2 that he's been too busy to do this podcast. But I don't know, it's like you see something in the group of people and you'll go hard for it. And it's people you probably just met.
Yeah,
but it's that feeling, that conversation you have, you know, like
it's that entrepreneurial spirit where you just kind of automatically you connect on that level, right?
Yeah.
Because I have best friends that have never and will probably never give me an opportunity on the insurance side, right? And part of it is
not a share.
People remember you how you connected, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of times people fail to acknowledge your growth. People will not look or bat another eye at, you know, the things that you're doing because they only remember you a certain way. And that's really crazy that how you met somebody, but they don't think in their mind that you've evolved at all, right? Like my sister-in-law still remembers me being the lazy guy who sleeps on the couch all the time.
Yeah.
And that's her only memory of it.
I have those people. Like, I'm not 17 anymore, you know? Like, and I was 17 till I was 33. So, you know what I mean? Like, I just like to say I'm not 17 anymore. But I did do the, you know, but there are those people that do that. And people don't, I don't know, they just don't accept growth. They don't accept change. They don't. And so there are a lot of people that probably expect it to fail almost.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they're not going to put their money into it because it's going to fail. Why is, like, I have a guy that's bought 35 masks for me. He just walked in. He just keeps ordering. And then I have people that I've known for decades that haven't bought one thing from me. You know, like, Yeah, and it's those things, you know, because there's a lot of people that just knew me as a young guy that would throw my hands up. You know what I mean? But like I said, I've built where I'm at on like a lot of mistakes, and you just keep going. That's the true keep going.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's unique though too, because as humans, a lot of times we end up becoming jaded.
Yeah.
And so we don't take the approach of a growth mindset, and understanding that everybody's human.
Yeah.
And I think for me, really, what's really opened up my eyes and where I've gone to is really getting to the point where I've loved myself and accept myself for who I am. So that opens up the door to accept other people where they're at, who they are, and understand that we all grow at different trajectories, different times. And I think if we were able to have a look at that in life, like things would be so much different. But it does take a very unique individual really to get to that point, honestly, because it is a lot of work and it's also getting out of your own way.
I mean, it's a lot of self-evaluation, which is always hard to face. Maybe demons you battle for a long time trying to clear those out, right? And then this fear of being rejected by the world, right? All those things. I mean,
fear's the biggest thing. Fear's a problem.
Yeah.
Fear stops a lot of things. Yeah. And you know, it's fear of what people are gonna think. It's the fear of how you're gonna look. It's fear of, you know, like you can't do it by yourself. Like you have a lot more strength than you realize you have.
I gotta say something off that. Yeah. The other day we this last snowstorm, call after call after call. Now we have 21, I think it's 21 recurring customers every month. They just pay, we come and we service them for the entire month, and they pay again, we service for the entire month if it ever snows. So we had to go service those customers, and we're 2 houses in, and it's like 8 a.m. We started at 3, so you can tell how long it took us. We started with 2 big ones. We started getting call after call. After about the 40-something call, I come back to the car because I'm out there shoveling and Keelan's in the car, and I'm like, what are you doing? You know, let's go. And he's like, dude, we've got like 60 houses today. And I'm like, and I'm thinking to myself, this is impossible. But he just kept saying yes and yes and yes and yes because he got ahead of himself. You know, people were calling, he was scared to tell them no. And then it turned around and we had to tell them no. And he didn't want to. He was like, I'll stay up till tomorrow night. Like, I won't go to sleep. I'm like, dude, I love that hustle. I'm right there with you, but is it realistic? And that fear to tell them no again and to go back and just turn around and say, what are they going to think? Well, we wrote up this long text and we sent it to them because it would take too long to call that many customers. So we sent it out to all these customers. And we only had one negative piece of feedback. We got instantly like 10 texts back saying, you guys are awesome. That was so professional. We totally understand. Please let us know if something happens. But it's just stepping past that fear. You never know how it's going to turn out.
Facing the issue is more than likely the answer. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, and none of us. I mean, traditionally we've grown up, and you know, there's a guy named Flip, Awesome Aguilera, right? He talks about, you know, as a wellness coach and a fitness coach, we don't address pain head on. Emotionally, physically, we always kind of like take a pill to deal with it.
It's a bottle situation. It's a try to forget it.
Correct. But if we address it head on, then we can really understand where the pain points are and how to better fix it. You know, and his goal, which is amazing, I think, for not a lot of businesses are built this way, but his goal is to basically get you where you don't need the services, that you just want to have the services. You know, at that point, and I think that it's really incredible to be able to have a model of business that way. And so, you know, one of the things that I can tell you, if you guys take it in regards to that, is teach people how to treat, right? Yeah. And so if that has been able to take that on, that might be something where you have to come back and then people are expecting to show up at 3 or 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. And if you're not well rested, you can't be the best version of yourself for them for future reference. Yeah. So to be able to stop and pivot and understand and send that text out, I think taught yourself and taught you guys that, one, you have a much needed service, and 2, maybe expansion is going to be coming faster than what you think.
Yeah.
You know, and so understanding some of those things are definitely going to help you in the long run. So
there's That's how I would look at it, is rather than there was this thing and we kept saying yes and then we had to call back and tell them we couldn't come, is now you know you can jump. You can jump and you can go to that next level where you figure out that truck that can tow the skid, you know, they can do the next equipment. You know there's a market there in your area for you. And a lot of people would be like, fuck that up, I'm gonna go in the corner. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas, yeah, you know what I mean? Nah, use it as we got this. We've got the market. We can, like, let's figure out how to say yes next time and actually do it all, you know? Yep. And the first step is calling them all back and saying, sorry, shit the bed right now, but we're going to clean it up and I got you tomorrow. Yep. Just like you did, you know what I mean? Like, and they're going to love you for that. Like you said, 1 out of those 40 people were like, screw you. Yeah. You know what I mean? Whereas,
yeah. And they weren't even that mad. They were just frustrated that we texted them at 6 o'clock at night rather than earlier in the day. And I get it, but
yeah,
it is what it is, man. We thought we could.
You didn't ignore it though, and just, you know, let them figure out you weren't coming. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, facing that issue. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Your project?
Yeah.
Okay, so the next section that we like to do while this is loading up here is, you know, one of the things for me that has always been an important part of business, part of relationships, and for myself really, is being able to kind of maybe take a few moments to reflect and also maybe give thanks or give back. So at this point in time, is there anybody that maybe you would like to acknowledge that's helped you get to this portion? I know being able to be here tonight and for setting up and having that initial connection is Dorinda. I don't know if Dorinda.
Yeah, obviously my wife, who honestly, like we touched earlier, she like was put in a position where she had to walk away from her career, and she ultimately trusted me. And we used, like, we had $900 in the bank, and I took $700 up to buy equipment. You know what I mean? And then there's every step along the way is kind of that way where it comes unexpectedly, and she just trusts, and she knows we're gonna figure it out. And so, like, absolutely impossible without my wife. You know what I mean? Absolutely. And the kids, yeah, you want to come say hi to everybody? My kids who show up and help out and understand the long hours. My dad, who shows up to do construction all the time, who is always, like, not just construction, he's signing for loans. He's like, anything I need, my dad is there. He's taught me the act of showing up. And then, like all you guys, yeah, Dorinda, yes. The rock star, the all-star. And then I've met a rock star team since we've opened this store. You guys, omnipresent, the Teen Titans. Yeah, I appreciate everybody that I've met along since we've opened a lot. Like you guys, omnipresent, Double L, the Teen Titans. Like, really, it's a rock star team. Like, I see it every day. Every day, I see you guys that I just mentioned getting me business, and it's like we appreciate it so much. I feed my kids every day because of that group that I just mentioned, and it's like, thank you.
Not only that, like, support us, like your guys' support helps us
support
them.
yeah.
So support them in their business and try to help them grow as business owners and as people. And so without the support that we get from everybody that we do, we wouldn't be able to help them.
No, and I do actually have, and like Dustin's coming back, like one of my partners back in an old business situation, coming back around now. And like, because we mentioned not a lot of people from the, like, a lot of new, but Dustin is coming back around, and he's been a tremendous. Dustin went out and helped you shovel the other day. Like, so he's a big part of the past that's coming back, that's helping with new stuff, that's stepped up big time recently for mine and your conference. So
Yeah.
big up to Dustin too.
Yeah.
How about you?
For me, off the top, just from the beginning, just my business partner. Like, I'm the guy that wants to go, and Keelan's the guy that wants to kind of reevaluate and look into things. And so I'm like,
If you're impressed by his 19-year-old attitude, his partner's 17.
you know,
And is the business half.
Yeah.
Is the half that keeps it
Wow.
going together. Yeah.
Me and Keelan, we speak the
Yeah.
so Keelan's the type where he'll sit there and like we went to a business dinner and he took notes. I just listen and I comprehend and I go as I go. And if I find something important, maybe I got a sticky note. But he had a pad of paper, like taking notes. And then when we got back to our office in our little $140 a month garage, he wrote down on our whiteboard of to-do list, he said, organize notes. So he did that. He put everything together. He was texting them, trying to get a plan together. Like, that's how he is. I just go with the flow. I make stuff happen. And if it works, great. If not, great. You figure out what's next. I just keep going. So big shout out to Keelan because we've been through a lot. Obviously, my friends, family, everybody around. Alyssa's sitting over there. They've just been huge supporters. What can I do? My dad and brother have come out, help shovel, help do lawn care, give me tips, tricks, things like that. But then one huge thing is just the customers. Because, I mean, in all honesty, my goal as a business is maybe not direct with all my customers because that eventually will become impossible. But I want to have a tie to each of my customers. Like they know K&D Snow N Mow for what we offer. We show up in uniform. One cool thing it may be useful to anybody out there watching or you guys is when we get an estimate, we call up right away as soon as we hear about it. We get to talking, we schedule an appointment to get out there, and we always hit them with the follow-up question. Before we hang up, what's your favorite soda or what's your favorite candy bar? And then I take that to them when I get there. And that's a huge trick that I heard one day. And I think that's so cool because when I get there, I let them know, and then they come out, and I'm like, here you go. And they get to enjoy that while we're talking about what they need with their lawn and all the money they're about to have to spend. But now we have a connection, and it's not just about money or I'm just some guy in a cut-up shirt. You know, I have a uniform too.
Nice.
Thanks, yeah, I got this made the other day. Got our face on the back. So yeah, I gotta wear it. No, I mean just my friends, family, customers, and my business partner. That's huge things, and then the people to come. I mean, people watching you guys for even allowing me to be here. I mean, I'm 19 doing this. This is pretty sweet to be able to say that.
You mentioned that dinner. I sure did do that too. I got a dispensary owner, my friend Dustin. I got omnipresent, us, and we just went to this dinner with these teenage business owners, and we're just firing at them. And they were like, it was fun. They had fun
So
too.
fun. So
Devin was in his element that night.
yeah.
We got some young social media. They're young guys inspiration. So yeah, one guy basically went from a viral golf shot, right, and that started the whole thing. To I think maybe
No. I was just saying that we did that. They came in and we did the shirts that day.
Yep.
So the owner of that company came in and talked to you actually. No, but we did their other company, the BNP.
Oh, God.
Their other company, we did their shirts that day. Yeah, awesome dude. Yeah, awesome dude.
Those
Yeah,
guys taught me and up to my Facebook. Honestly.
yeah.
Right, I learned a lot from them. You got Lane, right? Doing the house cleaning stuff, and he wrote an ebook, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Young guy.
we got Jason from Oceans Connections. He's doing the e-commerce thing, right? He's 26 years old, or 23 maybe. But a young guy, and basically off of a challenge of his professor saying you can't open an e-commerce store in today's world because of eBay and Amazon. And then he's got a bunch of people on there on his website doing it, you know? And so, like, every time when we schedule this, we honestly don't know who the guest is. Oftentimes, some maybe the same day or maybe a couple of days in advance. But what we love about the unscripted piece is we just never know how we're going to be inspired, who's going to come in, who's going to drop the mic. I mean, obviously, you've done amazing things. I definitely don't want to take away from him. I'm super impressed, right? And it's going to be awesome, honestly. Watch your journey.
Yeah.
You know, and so with that, just because we're running out of time, we do this segment called Pod Decks. Pod Decks was invented by
Travis Brown.
Travis Brown, really cool podcaster. And so these are just kind of random questions that are based off of that. And then, again, it's just a fun segment to just kind of get to know some of you.
All right,
And because Dorinda's here, will have to participate as well. It's going to go down the line.
Awesome.
Yes.
So first one is, who would you love to collaborate with, and what would you collaborate on?
Got one ready?
All right.
Okay, so ever since I was in 6th grade, I created this project. This project was, and you guys quote me on this, it was going to be a charger. It would start as a charger that you plug into the wall, and it would be able to charge your devices through. Eventually go to work its way to buildings and then to satellites that gather power off of the sun and then generate energy to where our phones are charged. Everything's always charged, completely getting rid of oil industries, all these other high dollar industries. And I'd partner with Elon Musk.
Anybody watching that knows Elon? Let's get Devin up
No,
there.
let's do it because that has been my dream. Like the first business idea that I've ever thought of was that charger, wireless, actually wireless type thing. And it would start as a little brick that plugs in the wall and charges his phone. But,
I love that.
yeah, that'd be cool.
Who wants to go after that?
Mine, I've had this one before, but for me, it would be Gary Vee, just because the way what he does, and I think his outlook. He talks. There was a podcast in November. He was talking about the fact that you're gonna ebb and flow, and so one day maybe you really want to focus on IG, build an IG, and then the next day you want to do TikTok, because you had posted something yesterday that Grant Cardone's like, whatever platform you're enjoying, go and run with it. And so I think just the way Gary Vee thinks, what he's all about really is, it aligns with what I want to do with Two Native Sons and making a huge impact.
RZA from the Wu-Tang Clan.
Okay. I like that.
And Wu-Tang is kind of like a religion to me. Like Wu-Tang is very important, but RZA was a very young man who came up with a plan, and 9 other individuals listened to him, and they're the Wu-Tang Clan. You know what I mean? Like they, I don't know. He did all the beats. He constructed a plan that has fed for 25 years now 10 other individuals, and fed them well, and that was his original plan. And it's a worldwide movement, but he is a medium, like the music, the movies. He writes stuff. But just again, the idea that something he created and a plan he came up with, he was able to vocalize to 10 individuals so well that they've eaten for 25 years off of that plan. And Wu-Tang, like for real, like, and what I would want to do with them, obviously I'm a merch guy, so it would mean the world to me to see all the Wu-Tang stuff go by that I printed that. Like that.
So more along the lines of where Scott was going with Gary Vee, I really look up to Rachel Hollis. And I found a lot of other people through her. And it's not necessarily just the motivation for yourself and those types of things, but the way that she has passion about everything that she teaches, regardless of what that subject is, whether it's baking a cake or doing this airplane project with her kid, or teaching women about how to be strong within themselves and to look at themselves in the face and hold yourself accountable.
And even the closest person to you cannot understand, but you keep doing what you are doing.
Yeah.
See, like cousin Dorinda, I listen to a lot of Rachel, and I got that from Rachel Hollis big time. Is even the closest people to you are not going to understand sometimes. And you still get up and do what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, and, letting them tell you what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing, what you can do, what you can't do. And it's like, I know I can do this, and he doesn't have to wake up with me every day and work my dream. And he can be mad about it all he wants, just like I can be mad about him doing his dream all he wants because it's inconvenient for me at the moment or for him at the moment. But at the end of the day, like, we're one team, and we have individual lives. We have individual dreams and things that we want to do, and that's okay too.
I love this conversation so much that I do want to start like an entrepreneurial couples podcast.
oh, dude.
To be able to get the bits and pieces.
Yeah, because, dude, like, I've looked at Raymond and Candy sometimes and been like, how do you do it? Because as a couple that works together, you don't ever figure it out, I don't feel. There's always that struggle, but you're also so strong.
Yeah.
So strong. But it's like sometimes you're like, I could just use a break. But also, there's never a stronger partner. Never. And to have other business partners that are couples would be like, dude, that's a retreat that everybody needs.
Yeah.
Because you just get to say, like, so what are your tricks? You know what I mean? Do you cry in the bathroom too? You know what I mean? Like,
I just run to the bathroom.
Yeah, you know,
sometimes, you know. So I think for me, I would really love to be able to collaborate with The Rock.
yeah.
You know, and as a fan of him from the wrestling side, you know, as an actor, he's grown so much. But how do you keep up with the pressure every day now that you're so
like, dude, 30 hours a day to work out, it seems. Dude, he's a house.
Yeah.
He's a house.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, you know, people tell me all the time, they're like, dude, you do too much. How do you do that? And like, if I stop and think about it, it's a lot.
Yeah.
If I just do it, I just do it. Right? And yeah, sometimes I get home, my wife's like, really? You said you were going to be here 2 hours ago, or you said you're only going to spend an hour on that? And again, like, babe, I love you. I promise the whole family stuff, you know, we're going to work it out. But also at the same time, when I launched the agency, I said, give me 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
Right? And I said, the reason I'm building this is so that way I don't have to miss out on any of those moments for my son, for our kids, right? I was like, I want to be able to be that traveling baseball coach, maybe, or family, or whatever it is. I don't know. Maybe my kid just wants to go and collect toys all over the country, right?
Yeah.
Whatever it is, you know, I didn't want to miss out on those moments later on. It's a little bit of sacrifice now, which again, like, I don't want to miss out on those moments, but at the same time, I kind of know that I'd rather do it now versus later. Especially because he may not remember a lot of these moments, so to speak. But, you know, how does he keep up with that pressure every single day? So many projects, doing some of those things, because it's kind of how I envision a lot of the stuff that I'm doing. I'm just staying busy, but I want to be purposefully busy.
Yeah, and it's the right people in the right position. We've actually looked a lot into The Rock. We watched a lot of his stuff, have the same questions. Like, it seems like he doesn't sleep, like always working. Like, how do you have 17 movies coming out at the same time? You know what I mean? And so
the following is both male and female, right? A lot of times, you know, you have one or the other. Like Momoa, his following is all females. Much, right?
Yeah.
It's not too many guys are like, oh man, Momoa is so cool. I wish I could get on with him. But The Rock, everyone's like, The Rock is so cool.
You eventually found a role that he played that you're like, there it is. There it is. Like, dude, he was funny right there. He was. And so, like, his ex-wife is his producing partner. Like, so she actually found the show Ballers and then convinced him to do it. And their marriage didn't work, but they're really good together business. So why stop that? You know what I mean? Why stop that? And so he's kept the right people in the right positions, and he's The Rock, you know, like, and it's that people make mistakes, people aren't doing it, but if they're doing something good for you, if they have that passion, like you said, she's a crappy wife, but a great business partner. So the fact that we have to get divorced doesn't mean the business has to die. And the fact that they figured that out, dude, that's, dude, that alone. Like, how many people could do that? That's just another notch for The Rock. like, and now they're like, dude, screw you. You know what I mean? How are you perfect?
Yeah,
You know what I
exactly.
mean? Like, no, but it's at the right people, and they got past what they had to get past, and he goes and gets his roles, and he shows up and does his job. It wasn't husband and wife, but they're great business partners. To the fact that he's married to someone else and has kids, and it's still just good.
Yeah,
You know, like it's
Really, it's completely done.
yeah. But I mean, he's The Rock, so obviously it's got to work good enough. You know, like,
one more question.
Yeah. So that's kind of interesting. It's like, would you rather be afraid to try new things or be so open-minded that you never say no?
Already know I'm never saying no to anything.
yeah, I like to try new things. There's a lot of stuff that I've worked real hard to get past fear to do. And it's just because I don't like having those things that I'm scared to do. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So yeah, I do.
That's actually one problem that I've faced growing up. Like, I try so many things that
I
don't,
bite off too much. I do, but that's a problem I'm willing to accept.
and I don't like. I start something, and only the things that I'm really into I stick with. But I've done it all. Like, I've really done a lot of stuff for being 19. I've got it.
I feel like no's the most contagious word you could say. After a while, you're just saying no to everything. They have a whole movie about it right now. I feel like it's, yeah, you know, like you're just saying no and you get trapped and I don't feel good. I hurt, you know what I mean? To where I sometimes will go to the bathroom and be like, get your shit together and go do this thing. You know what I mean? And like, even if you have to face yourself, whatever you have to do the things. You know what I mean?
I mean, I've said yes all the way until I found my way to Amway. And, there's nothing wrong with Amway. Great opportunity, but you have to chase it. But a lot of people, there was a time where Amway was hated on. And then, not a lot of people.
You still get that with the network marketing.
Yeah. So, found my way to it, but I would just say yes to everybody. Do everything. I'm done with that.
What are you doing?
I tend to play it safe, if I'm being honest. And so if I had to choose a way to be, I would probably choose to be on the other side of that because how I am actually is I do play it safe. And I actually told Gary recently that I think I have a fear of success. Not necessarily a fear of failure,
Yes.
but I have this fear of what if we're so successful that I can't keep up.
Because you've never been trained for that, right?
Yeah.
Because it's never been talked about. You only hear about that failures, only hear about being kicked down the ladder.
Yeah.
We've talked about this many times on this podcast because there is no proper training to set you up for what that looks like, right? Just like my whole thing about how do you handle pressure, right? And for me, kind of like resonating with all your stories, I've said this many times. For you, I basically grew up gambling on every aspect of my life in hopes that one would pay off. Right now that I'm receiving accolades, now that I'm getting recognition, now that people are turning to me to help them, it's like at one point does the shoe drop where I'm kind of almost half expecting it. But on the other side, it's like, you have all the correct skills and your life has built you up for all that failure and set you up to be in this right position. And so to be able to go through all of those things. So, and obviously, this is something that is not talked about enough, right? In terms of what does that success look like? What is that, what if, and we always ask that question, what if, right? And so what happens, what if I fail instead to, what if I actually surpass?
And it's funny because it definitely is one of those, like, what if something so great happens that we don't know how to do? You know what I mean? And you definitely figure out how to do that great thing. You know what I mean? Like it's yeah.
I get asked all the time, what if, or I'm not good enough, I can't do this. I always tell people, don't know what you don't know, so you know what you know. You can remember that, you'll be pretty good. So just go do it.
You already know I'm gonna go for every experience.
Yeah.
No, you really does it.
No, yeah.
Very few people actually do what he does. He goes up and times again. He doesn't know, right? like, hey, we haven't heard from Devin. So he's like, well, I'm on my way, right? And he's like, well, I'm already here.
Yeah.
You know, and then for people, shows up time again. Like they're like, you want to go to the parade? He's like, sure. I've never been. We're flying a drone. It's like, he's like, oh, you need somebody to get on the roof? Let me get on. Right? So, you know, what's an hour. He shows up in 5 minutes. So, you know, it's incredible to have people like that surround you because Vanny calls me every day. Hey, we got this going on. We got this. What are your thoughts on this? Here's some new stuff I'm sending. Right? And I'm like, dude, am I doing my part? Because I'm busy over here, and you know, I don't know how many times he's like, hey, we doing this? I'm like, yeah. And then he's like, I guess we're not doing it, but that's okay. We'll do it next time, right? And just rolls with it. So, you know, to be able to have people like that around the corner, definitely.
Need both because if I was just always getting, I'd probably feel a little more, but I was feeling kind of makes me reevaluate and have to come back even harder with what. Or sometimes I realize actually let's go.
You know, that's cool for my wife. You know, and so one book I would recommend is an online read, really quick, and it has to do with video games, which is kind of the funny part. But it's called Play to Win, not to lose. There's a big difference, right? When you're going to win versus just going to defense. And video game related.
Yeah.
That was the community I still one of the books that I recognize. That's that scene. Is it by far like the best book I've ever read? Absolutely not, but it is one that I resonates. But I'll never forget.
Yeah. So and that's where me and Dorinda have that good balance where there's sometimes where it really collides, you know, where I'm very much like, no, let's go. Like I'm gonna go from A to B. It doesn't matter how we get there, you know? And she's very much like, no, I have to hear the step. You know, like cause like like if I'm gonna at bat, I'm like I want to hit that grand slam, you know, in my home run sticks, you know, like and like where she's like, dude, we just you know what I mean? And so sometimes it's like, oh, I gotta listen to her this time, you know, like, cause I do run into her, like, I'll go into that wall full forward because I just go to have that balance.
No, absolutely.
Amazing.
Great one for all of us. I hope all what to read is don't need parts. It's you know, it sounds funny, but in all honesty, this book has really shown me a lot of patient.
You seem like
Yeah,
man, got it all.
Occasionally, I read, but
I mean,
the good books, the ones that are recommended.
Are really, like if Devin would have showed up in our lives, don't know that I wouldn't have ended up crying multiple times a week during the remodel. And so it was kind of like you put a call out into the I don't even know where. You're like something come to me, and Devin showed up, brother showed up, and Alyssa showed up, and everybody showed up, and we have this awesome team that came together.
Teen Titans go. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Like this store, honestly, like this store.
We have 7 kids. I have kids that are you know, but they're our kids just want to, you know, get called for dinner, and you know what I mean. Like they'll understand that we're working, and this is how we pay, you know, like so they don't bitch a lot, but like to have teams that show, you know what I mean. It's like, no, you know, like
That same part of something. Tried to pay Devin, and he's like, "We're partners."
yeah.
Stop trying to pay me.
oh, that's awesome. Dude, it's been a blast. To know you, obviously, see the growth and hear more about that, your side. Let's definitely not let this be the first and only time that we do something like this. You know, But honestly, like, really impressed, and I love the fact that you've taken on this mentorship role. It's so important. Uh, that's something where a lot of people don't understand how both roles really.
Oh no, I would be like he said, like we're getting as much out of it, like um, maybe more. You know what I mean? Like the remodel, the pivot that we're doing, like relies on him a little more than I think me teaching him about this. You know, like he's got a real good head on his shoulders. You know, like I think my role with him is basically just the boxing trainer in the corner that basically knows he has a stud. It's just like, you got it, bro. You know, like it's like that. You know what I mean? Because I don't feel a lot of older people just telling you they got it. You know, like, and like I see myself to where he'll go, go. Really think my role more is how he's got it. You know what I mean? Like the support. You know what I mean? Like if he has questions, I answer them, but he shows up for me probably more than I'm showing.
Yeah, it's awesome to see. Honestly, you guys got such going on here. Just those as well. Guys, if you're watching this and or if you're watching it this far, again, Facebook.com/design your life. What's your Facebook?
It's just K&D Snow N Mow. Maybe without the N symbol. Unless I run the KD, so KD Snow N Mow LLC, something like.
We'll get it up in the comments for
Fine.
sure. Yeah. And again, guys, I highly recommend you coming and just connecting with Gary and Dorinda. I highly recommend you coming and just to check out their store, see what they're doing. They're open to collaboration. They want to help and support small and local, especially artists. So don't hesitate to stop in. Use this video as a reference if need be. And thank you guys for tuning in. We'll catch you guys next week.
Hashtag be a friend, tell a friend. Let's go.